Hello again, parents. I'm Charlie General. I'm a qualified UK teacher who covers educational topics internationally. In this series, I'll be covering the topic of maths in everyday life. My guest for this series is Ms. Adekunbi Adubifa, a UK educator who, among other interests, has had the pleasure of running a tuition centre and maths academy. Over the last 25 years, her tuition centre, academy and resources have supported hundreds of students nationally and internationally.
Thanks for the intro, Charlie.
So, let's get started. Mathematics education is facing a crisis. Nearly 50% of students report experiencing math anxiety that severely impacts their learning. But what if the solution isn't about teaching more math, but completely reimagining how we approach it?
That statistic is pretty alarming, and here's what's fascinating. Research from countries like Singapore and China shows that their students experience significantly less math anxiety while consistently outperforming Western countries. They've developed this approach called maths mastery that completely transforms how students engage with mathematical concepts.
So, what makes their approach so different from traditional Western teaching methods?
Let me paint you a picture. Instead of racing through topics and memorizing formulas, these students spend time building deep understanding through real-world applications. For example, in Singapore, students learning geometry might start by analyzing the architectural design of their own school building.
That's such an interesting way to make abstract concepts tangible. How does this translate to actual results?
The numbers are incredible. Schools that have implemented these mastery approaches have seen up to a 40% improvement in test scores within just 2 years. But here's what's even more fascinating. Student anxiety levels dropped by nearly 60% in the same period.
Those results are remarkable. What specific strategies are they using to achieve this?
Well, it's this brilliant combination of approaches. They're using what they call productive struggle, where students are challenged just enough to grow, but not so much that they become overwhelmed. And get this, they're incorporating technology in really innovative ways with AI-powered platforms that adapt in real time to each student's learning pace.
You know, that reminds me of something I read about the psychology of learning mathematics. Isn't there a strong connection between emotional state and mathematical ability?
Oh my gosh, yes. And this is where it gets really interesting. Studies have shown that when students experience math anxiety, it actually activates the same brain regions as physical pain. But, and here's the game changer, when they learn through these mastery approaches, we see increased activity in regions associated with both logic and creativity.
That connection between creativity and mathematical thinking seems so crucial, yet it's often overlooked in traditional teaching methods.
Exactly right. And here's a mind-blowing statistic. Students who engage in creative mathematical problem solving show a 35% higher retention rate of complex concepts compared to those who learn through traditional memorization methods.
How are parents adapting to these new approaches? It must be quite different from how they learned math.
You know what's fascinating about that? Parents who participate in math positive training programs see their children's math anxiety decrease by 30% in just one semester. They're learning to create what they call math moments throughout the day, using everything from cooking to video games as opportunities for mathematical thinking.
That kind of everyday integration must make such a difference in how children perceive mathematics.
Well, the data certainly supports that. In households where parents regularly engage in mathematical discussions during daily activities, children are 3 times more likely to pursue STEM-related subjects in higher education. But here's what really blows my mind. These students also show higher problem-solving skills across all subjects.
Looking ahead, what do you think this means for the future of mathematics education?
So here's where things get really exciting. we're seeing this perfect convergence of neuroscience, technology, and educational psychology. Schools implementing comprehensive mastery programs are reporting not just improved test scores, but also higher student engagement, better problem-solving skills, and, perhaps most importantly, a genuine enjoyment of mathematics.
That shift from fear to enjoyment seems like it could have far-reaching implications beyond just academic success.
Absolutely right. And that's really the key takeaway here. When we transform maths from a source of anxiety into a tool for understanding and shaping our world, we're not just improving test scores, we're empowering the next generation with critical thinking skills that will serve them in every aspect of their lives.
So that is the end of this second bite-size episode. If you live in the Colindale area in London and need maths support for your child, Miss Adekumbi's team can be reached on 0772 3577791.
Thanks so much, Charlie.
We'll see you in the next episode.